So what would it be like? It would be like, let's begin this new adventure that I'm going to have on a separate playlist, and it's all going to be about off-mandrel work. And I'm really excited about it, and I hope you guys are excited too, and join me in this another side journey that I'm taking here. I'm always all over the place, but this is what I feel like making right now, and that's what I'm going to do. A lot of people wonder, like, well, how do I even start thinking about making something that's not on the mandrel? And that's where we're going to begin this little journey. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk the whole time I'm making this video. It might be a little longer, so I hope you can stick through it if you want to learn the process of off-mandrel work. And of course, the one piece that I always start my students out with, I do not have, and I have been looking for it, but it has eluded me. Let us make a mouse, okay? That's our very first thing that we're gonna make. All you need are 2 rods. The other tool that, if you have, might come in handy, just a little pair of mini mashers. And most flame workers have this as one of their base tools. You know, you should have a pair of these. There's not much to this, and it's very simple. We're not going to be adding like eyes or anything like that. There's just a few movements that you need to understand and learn, and as you work out the mouse in your own time, you will start to learn how to better read the heat of the glass. Working in a hot but solid state. That sounds interesting. A hot but still a solid state. But then there is, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself again. So why don't we just get right into this video. You know, when you're dealing with something that's off-mandrel for the first time, you really need somebody to talk you through it. So I have these 3 rods of blue, different shades, but you notice that this one right here in the middle is thinner than the other 2. And that's the first thing you want to check out, are my rods all the same size? That tends to make it easier. All right, let's get this going. I don't have my lighter, so I'm just using a sparger, striker. This is so thin that I can now, come on now. Well, let me just take it off. Oh, but look, off comes the tail. I see. In fact, I think that this whole thing is going to be a redo. So there's one of my mess ups for you, Elizabeth. And we will, I just don't know what's happening. Oh my God. Okay, we're done. Let's just stop this and try it again. Tail is good. Hopefully it'll just come right off, and it did. Now I'm just going to set him down on the table and hope that he stands upright. Come on, buddy. Oh, geez. Okay, looks like we're going to make one more. Okay, here we go again. It's funny that I'm making this and it's not working out. And yeah, this is supposed to be like how you begin off-mandrel work. But off-mandrel work is also like making a marble. Making marbles takes time to learn, because a lot of times people will use a marble mold, which isn't always necessary, but it does help in other ways than just doing the last shaping. So here we are again, and I'm just going to build up kind of it's going to be more like a conical shape for the body of this mouse. Almost think about it as like a chess piece for, you know, mousetrap or something. Just as simple as we can get. And I'm just heating up the base, okay, where the glass meets the rod. I'm heating up the rod itself. Ow! That's why I wear gloves. I don't have gloves on today. And when I think I have enough, and I like the amount that I have here, I'm going to very slowly, before, you know, things get too crazy, I'll test myself. And I'll slowly hold it down. Just so it makes a droop, okay? And once my droop is finished, I can go back in and just heat up the bottom so I can flatten it. Just a little bit. Don't ever lose all your heat in the glass or you could be in trouble, okay? So now what we're going to do with this, excuse me while I change hands, is I'm going to use this one for the tail. And this time, I'm not going to punty up on the bottom. That it proves wrong. And then the more I thought about it, I realized that when I made these, the first time I never had to punty them up. So I'm going to use the tail as the punty. So I'm just going to add this tail here and slowly lift and give it a little bit of a twist. Okay, doesn't have to be much, but just enough to hold it in place. And now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the head, okay? So now we have these two rods stuck together. And the head, I'm going to take off about an inch. Whoops. See, that's why. What happens when you start moving your rod in the flame too much is it starts to crack and break. So you really want to make sure that every time you heat up a fresh rod, you just hold it in the flame until it starts to heat up on one side. And I'm just pulling off some of this glass so the head isn't like really humongous and overweighting this piece. All right, now I have this to use later on. Okay, so now I'm just heating the piece, making sure that when I heat the top and when I turn it upside down, nothing is actually touching anything else. I'm just getting this hot enough to melt down into a little ball, okay? And then hold that little ball, you know, put it where you need to. Sometimes I'll hold it backwards a little bit, and then that'll allow me to pull a cute little mouth out, which is what I'll do right now. Okay, so the mouth is now, or I'm sorry, the head is now the hottest part. So it'll be easy for me to add a little bit of glass there. Let it cool down for a second and then grab it again and just pull it out on the downward position. And then you'll have a cute little nose that you can play with or not, or add to. Sometimes with the nose, and we have a little bit of time because the head is still hot. Sometimes I'll add just a little bit extra on the nose, and then I'll flatten it like right here to give it more of a interesting look. Ooh, I don't want to use this. Okay, let's use this final color here for a little bit of ears. So now remember, the head is still hot. Don't let the head cool down. That's, you know, don't let it melt, but don't let it cool down, because what we need to do is put these ears on. So I'm going to just attach just a little ball, okay? Doesn't have to be much at first. You can put on a lot more if you want. But then I'm just going to go back and forth, heating only the ear. And now I have my mini mashers here. And I can flatten that ear out. So we have an ear here. And now I want to go on the other side and just graze the other side of the head. with that heat. And then just roll it off there, heat it upside down, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it a quick press. Some mice, I'm sure, have much bigger ears, but just for the sake of this demonstration, that's what I'm going to do. Just add a little tiny section of nose there that will melt onto it immediately. And now usually here's our finished mouse. Okay, now we really don't have to do anything to it. Okay, it's real simple. Like I said, it's really simple, but it's a challenge, okay, for a first time off-mandrel piece. So in this situation, what I would do is let this whole thing cool down, and then I'd heat off the very, very tail end. So, you know, you can hold the body while you do that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to let it sit here for a second. Okay. And let everything cool down because we don't want to have to anneal this. Okay. I'd give it about a good 10 minutes to cool down. Okay, I'm back. This little guy is nice and cool. I can touch it. It's all good. Feels good. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take the tail off, and I'm going to just make my torch really tiny and just hold it right above the flame so it starts to heat up, and then give yourself a little bit of time. Take your time. Don't just go right into the flame. You'll start to feel it move. Hit the other side if you can. And then just give it an extra little pull, okay, like this. There you have it, okay. Finished mouse. Finally, we made one. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Now we can put this one down over here. Yeah, it sits. Looks good. And let's check it out up close. Okay, there he is. Now you can see that this mouse is a little different from the other ones, just because I decided that, like on this one, I would make the ears a little different, okay? See how the ears are way out there? That can also have to do with, like, well, you notice that some of the bottom of this broke off. That's why it's not sitting flat, because I puntied on the bottom, and I shouldn't have done that, but I do like the ears like this. However, in this little finished character here, I put the ears on a little differently, but that's okay. It's all good. There he is. And now I'm going to go and put him on the shelf of good things.